Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today's Thursday and it's March the 27th, 2025. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to extend to you a warm welcome and thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you return viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know, I sincerely thank you for your support. Feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. And our story today is all about the Marines in North Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, one North Carolina Marine kills his wife, then himself. Another Marine kills his wife. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll identify some of my sources for you in the description box. In today's video, we're focusing on North Carolina Marines and rather service members in an effort to understand the increased level of violence now being shared in news reportings. And people want to know whether this represents a new trend or simply a series of isolated events. But since the military has come somewhat isolated from its neighboring communities, that's us, we still want to know whether the Marine Corps is doing enough to support its young service members during stressful life situations. And to understand my concern, I'm presenting you with two cases today. One is about a Marine who killed his wife and then killed himself, and another Marine who killed his wife. Let's go ahead and get started with the first. North Carolina Marine kills his wife, then himself. And this case all started when a concerned father who lived in Maryland, 5 hours away, contacted the Jacksonville, North Carolina police and requested a welfare check on his daughter. And this request was made because he had not heard from his daughter in over 2 days. He told the dispatcher he had been calling her phone. The caller said his daughter lived with her boyfriend and he was unaware of any problems between them, but he was concerned because her phone was showing active at her apartment, but it was unusual for her not to be returning messages or phone calls. And armed with the knowledge that the daughter lived at the Charleston's place in Jacksonville, on the afternoon of January the 19th, 2025, police did go to that apartment complex looking for an apartment in question in order to conduct a welfare check. And you know, that father's intuition was on point, because when police were able to enter one particular apartment, they found two individuals deceased inside, and both of them had fatal gunshot wounds. But weeks after the bodies were discovered, there was no follow-up with the police, and residents were very, very concerned. So they took their concerns to the media, which prompted a news article with this headline: residents share concern after no update regarding two people found dead at apartment complex in Jacksonville. It was revealed much later on that the couple, the man and the woman, the deceased couple, had died from an apparent murder-suicide. And then police slowly identified the two individuals involved. The woman was identified as the victim, 23-year-old Maya Aramante, and this picture is courtesy of the National Gun Violence Memorial, and her date of death was listed January the 19th, 2025. And by then, the autopsy findings were available at that time, and it showed that Maya Aramante was shot in the head, and her death was ruled a homicide. Police said she was shot using a 9mm handgun by the other person. It was also determined that she was married, and the person who took her life was her husband. Now, I can just imagine the shock experienced by Maya's family, because as you recall, when her father requested that welfare check, he told the officers that she was living with her boyfriend. So now to find out that she was married and then she's dead, horrible, horrible experience. And by the way, let me also mention that these photos were also from the National Gun Violence Memorial. And finally, it was revealed that the second person in this tragedy was a Marine assigned to Camp Lejeune base here in North Carolina. He was identified as 22-year-old Lance Corporal Dario Aramante. Not sure why the Marine was keeping this information away from the public, but Jacksonville police stated they were no longer involved in the investigation and that all additional information would have to come from the Marine Corps base. Only then did the Marine Corps issue a brief statement. They briefly mentioned that Corporal Aramante was a rifleman assigned to 1st Battalion, 6th Marine, and that he had enlisted in the Marine Corps in April of 2021. They also stated that they would not be releasing any additional information due to an active investigation taking place. And by the way, because the autopsy was conducted outside of the military, because he died outside of the military installation, reporters were able to gain access to the death certificate, and the autopsy revealed that Lance Corporal Dario Aramante died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, fired from a 9mm handgun. His manner of death was listed as suicide. Now, I should mention here that the photo here, for what I'm using, was available in the public domain. And there was also a brief obituary that mentions Lance Corporal Aramante's military training and that he had traveled overseas to Japan for some additional training as well. It was also disclosed that he was buried on February the 7th, 2025 in his hometown, a small village on Long Island, New York. It's interesting that the brief summary of information that from the Marines came out just as he was being put to rest, and they have stated that no additional information will be forthcoming. And as we progress with this video, let me ask you a question. What is the possibility in this Charleston Place apartment? What is the possibility of another murder, same location, involving a Marine? Let me give you the answer. The answer is 100%. And that's because just approximately 6 weeks after the first incident we just discussed, there was another violent crime, and it had to do with an arrest of a Marine for killing his wife. The date of this incident was March the 6th, 2025. And courtesy the Marine Corps, there were headlines such as this: Onslow County apartment see third violent death. Jacksonville man charged with second-degree murder after fatal parking lot crash. And that man is 25-year-old Sage Simmons, pictured here, an active duty service member, a Marine assigned to Marine Corps Air Station New River. Now, I don't speak on New River very often. Yes, it is in North Carolina, and it's a substation or satellite facility of Camp Lejeune. So Camp Lejeune is the big headquarters, and Marine Corps Air Station New River is a satellite location, and I believe there are 6 satellite facilities. That's what I read in my research. So he lived off post at this Jacksonville, North Carolina apartment complex, the Charleston Place, and he lived there with his wife, 22-year-old woman. Her name is Jade Simmons. And this individual is now charged with second-degree murder and reckless driving. Now, according to the Jacksonville, North Carolina police, they responded to a traffic crash at the Charleston Place parking lot at approximately 9:57 p.m. on March the 6th, 2025. The initial investigation showed that Simmons was driving his car, a 2014 Ford Focus. He was driving the car in reverse at high speed in the parking lot of the apartment complex, and that he ran over his wife, Jade Simmons, and he also struck a car that was parked, an unoccupied car. Jade Simmons was transported by EMS to the nearby hospital where she was pronounced deceased. And here's a picture of Jade Simmons. And now police never did provide an explanation as to why this individual was driving at high speed at night, almost 10 o'clock at night, in the parking lot in reverse. But it was alleged that this may have been the outcome of a domestic dispute. But this was never confirmed. So Simmons was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and reckless driving. He was taken to the Onslow County Detention Center, and at his first court appearance, he was issued a bond of $2 million. Now, it's unclear whether he was able to meet that bond requirement, and I did not see any information on a follow-up court appearance. And after his arrest, a representative from the Marine Corps did confirm that Simmons is an active duty corporal assigned to Marine Corps Air Station New Rivers, and that he was assigned to the Marine Wing Support Squadron 272 as an auto maintenance technician, and that he enlisted in the Marines in 2020. And besides that, the Marine Corps is not planning to release any additional information on this matter. And even though this Marine is entitled to have his day in court, people are asking whether or not whether or not his actions were intentional or whether or not it was simply an accident. We don't know because we weren't there. But I think it's fair to ask, what was this Marine doing driving in reverse at high speed at 10 p.m. at night in an apartment parking lot? I think it's a fair question, but we don't have an answer. But I want to share with you a comment from a resident of that same apartment complex, the Charleston Place. In fact, it's a neighbor, someone who lived next door to the couple. And when asked for that person's opinion on the couple and this situation, this is what that neighbor had to say. So I blocked out the individual's name. I just want to focus on the comment. And the comment reads, this is what it's He said, this kind of hurts me. You know what I mean? Because she wasn't a bad neighbor. It was just a domestic issue and turned into murder. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I've shared with you today two tragic situations involving Marines that resulted in 3 people dead and 1 Marine charged with murder. The question to be asked at present is this: exactly what is the Marine Corps doing to address these situations, whether it's through training or the availability of resources to assist its young service members? Exactly what is the Marine Corps doing to help? Now, there is a perception that we, the public, don't deserve to know what's taking place. The buzzwords, we will not be releasing any information because of an ongoing investigation. Now, those are just buzzwords for we don't owe you an explanation. How many more lives will be lost before you, the military, publicly address what's taken place? We, the public, want you to address the homicides and suicides of service members and their spouses. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's another homicide case to bring to your attention, but I decided to address it separately because it was not presented as being domestic in nature. So stay tuned for my next video. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that right subscribe button. It's on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks just like this one, that's a notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.